whole reasoning was behind this was God's healed me. God, that's what she would say. God's healed me. God's healed me. God's healed me. I'm like, why are you flinching?
Now there she goes again, the dopest Ethiopian, and now the world around me begins moving in slow motion whenever she...
Oh Lord, where do I start with this child? Oh my God, this is gonna be a long video, but hopefully you'll stay for the ride. I'm gonna take you from the very beginning on how I met this girl, till, you know, each of my different parts, because I want you guys to get the whole backstory. We're gonna call this roommate Satan because that's literally what I have her name saved in my phone. She's blocked, but when she started tripping, she would be calling me. It's so funny because it'd be like, Satan is calling me. But anyways, disclaimer before we even get into it, for this story time as well as all my story times, there's going to be a meeting. Like, I'm going to come at these stories with a very comedic viewpoint, but honestly there is a lesson to be learned from all of this. Towards the end I'll kind of reflect more on that, but know who you're living with. So anyways, starting off, I met Satan, I want to say it was at a Christmas party that some girl was throwing at my church. And I went with another one of my roommate. I brought her and we went there, and she introduced, I go to an American church, and she introduced me to Satan because she was East African. So when I met her, honestly, I thought she was kind of a fob. So I was not having too much of a good day. So I didn't really feel like entertaining, being extroverted or whatever. So she started talking to my roommate, who I brought, a little bit more. And I heard her introduce herself. So she was 24, interested in going to OSU, where we attended. And then after that, I kind of like left. So we were talking. She's like, oh yeah, she's 24. She hasn't graduated. She's getting ready to start going back to school. And that was that. So then that was December. That following summer, I go to Ethiopia. I literally left right after the day after my last final, and then I didn't come back until Saturday before classes start. So while I was in Ethiopia, we have like a women's group me at our church, and I wrote there when I went to the internet house, like, hey, we're looking for a roommate. If you need somewhere on campus, blah, 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 reach out to Jessica. And here's her contact information. I don't have internet. I have very limited access to internet and group me while I'm here, but just reach out to her and you guys can set everything up. So then Satan and this other girl at me like, oh, I'm interested, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, cool. Talk to Jessica. A few weeks go by. Jessica lets me know that Satan came and see the place and she's interested in signing. So I told her, I was like, okay, I don't really know this girl that well. I just know that she goes to my church, so she should be cool. Like, and no one has said anything or whatever. Like, this is not a public, but it's pretty public, group mate, so they can see her interacting with me. After that, she moves in, and everything all cool, everything's going great, and then I was missing some things. I created another group me for our house, and I came home and I wrote in the group message like, hey, I'm missing a lot of items, including like this expensive shower curtain I just bought, new clothes, a new shower curtain. You know, where are they? Basically, her and we won't call my other roommate Cupcake, they threw it away. Like, they just took my stuff and they threw it away. So before that, she wrote,
heads up, my dad slash pastor will be here Sunday. He may spend the night, not sure.
and this is before we had any roommate agreement, came up collectively of how we wanted to live the house, what's going to be what, how we're going to handle bills, whatever. So she had told me about this guy, and I was just like, okay, we have to talk to it. You know, I can't speak for anyone else in the house, but I'm not comfortable with some grown man spending the night at the house. Like, who are you? So we're gonna talk about. I don't even feel comfortable about calling this man dad, but basically, she was talking about this guy who's literally probably, if 5 years older than her, some man that she called dad. And she would be on the phone, he and kid and dad and like it was super flirtatious and disgusting because she would always go in this little girl voice talking to him. And I'm just like, this is really weird and gross. But one day, this dad comes knocking on the door, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna say her name, Satan. Your guest is here. I'm not calling him dad. And her and Jessica had discussed about the whole thing too. And then she's like, oh, I'm not really dressed. I'll be down in a second. Can you open the door? So me and Jessica go to the door and I open it. And I was like, oh, hey, you come in. My name is Camille. And then Jessica introduced herself. We're like, what's your name? And he's like, oh, well, you can just call me Dad. And we're like looking at each other like,
3, 2, 1.
Got a blast.
mm-mm. Got a blast. Gotta go. So we go up the stairs like, who introduces themselves as mom or dad to strangers? Grown, like we're grown. You want us to call you dad? And then you want this man to spend the night over our house? Like, no. So that happens. He ended up not spending the night over our house. He went back. I think he was like from Cleveland or something. He ended up going back home. So then a couple of days later, she started acting really weird, like really weird. One Sunday, we were going to church, and she doesn't have a car at all. She didn't have any part of her life together. She didn't have a car, and I was taking us to, the grocery store or whatever, going to church, that's fine. And one day, I was taking her to church, and one thing I do not like, if I'm the ride, if I'm the person who's whipping, do not have me waiting for you. She is in the bed. I'm fully dressed. Hey, I'm getting ready to leave. Going to church still. Brush my teeth. Go eat. Finish. Like, hey, about leaving about 10 minutes. Whatever. And I start doing my makeup. And this is actually when I first started doing my makeup. I had binge watched, like, literally, actually just one video I could load in Ethiopia of Ellery. I just watched it over and over and over. And I had my first little beauty blender. And all I probably had was, like, foundation and maybe some wing eyeliner and maybe some eyeshadow, but I don't think I was that comfortable wearing eyeshadow yet. So as I had the beauty blender to my face, she was literally like, well,
it's not like I'm sitting here putting on my whole face, like my whole entire face. It's only going to take me a couple minutes to get ready.
And I looked at this heifer like, excuse you, you can get ready and start walking. Like, now that you caught an attitude with me because I'm going to be driving my car to church with my money I spent on the makeup that I bought for myself. Like, you could walk without any makeup. So that's when I was kind of looking at her like, okay, first dad, now you're coming out my makeup. And then there's another time where I want to say this was a Monday. It might have been that day or the next day. We went grocery shopping. And I was kind of ignoring all these little things. Like, there are little things that bother me and they're rude. But I'm just like thinking, okay, you're just a rude person, whatever. Like, I can be cordial. We just ain't going to be kicking it or anything. So we go grocery shopping and we put all of our bags from my car to the kitchen. And I leave a case of water in there. And then she goes like, and Jessica's here to see and witness it all. She was like,
hey, you should take that water out of your car. I heard it causes cancer.
And I've heard that too. We've all heard that. I was like, oh, no, it's okay. It's no problem. I want to leave it in my car. She's like,
oh, no, it's no problem. I can get it for you if you want me to.
I was like, no, I just want to leave it in my car. And that was it. So me and Jessica start talking. And like maybe about an hour later, I go down to go get some water. And the water is not in my car. And I open my trunk. I'm like, what? I go look on the counter. And my water is on the counter. And I'm like, so Satan just took my keys and went to my car and opened my trunk and took my bottles of water and put them on the counter after I told her no. So I was just like, oh, no. And this is about like the second or third time. I'm like, okay, hey guys, we did a house meeting. Let's meet and set boundaries because you're crossing them, like you're pushing my threshold. So then after that, that was strike like what, 3? She should already been out. Strike 4 or wherever we're at is when we're taking classes. Classes have started, and this chick decides to pull the internet out without warning, without letting anyone know. And Cupcake was in the middle of taking a test or a quiz, and she ended up losing all the points for the quiz because you can't go back and open it up. It shows that you attempted to do it, and just because your internet went out, like, it sucks to sucks. They don't care. And it was like a huge thing about that. Like, we need to have a meeting, blah, 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 blah. Like, this stuff can't keep happening. And then we asked her to call the internet company because honestly, for it to not just come back on instantly, I don't know what was wrong, but it took about 2 or 3 days before it came back on. It was like some hard reset that was done or whatever AT&T was saying, but because she had dropped out literally after her first week and didn't tell anyone, she just dropped out and she unplugged the internet and it had no effect on her and she didn't care. So we're asking her like, oh, can you call the internet company? And then I asked her like, hey, do you mind getting it called in the morning and getting it handled before noon and also keeping us updated because we need this. And then she was like,
Oh, I won't get home until then.
and I'm like, we need to have, well, I wasn't unplugged anyway. Like, why did you unplug it? Why are we touching the internet? Like, there's no point. And then I was like, all right, we need to have a roommate meeting. So then the next day, I think we set the meeting for that day, the next day. And she didn't show up for, I want to say, like the 5th time. And we've only been there for maybe a week or 2, and she's already canceling, not showing up. We would literally be sitting on the couch waiting for her, like, oh, she's not here. We just, all right, let's try again the next day. So then September 12th came. So I think it was either September 12th or September 11th. I want to say it was the 12th because September 11th is in Kuntatash, and we're hosting it at our house. And basically, so we sat down, all 3 of us. We scheduled a meeting at 2, and of course, she did not show up. Why? Don't know. She just decided she wasn't gonna show up. I think it was because she was bitter about this whole internet thing, and she knew that she was gonna get lit for it, like whatever. She decided not to show up. So then we start talking, and like she basically had told my roommate, she said something about being a pedophile, and we were like, wait, what? What do you mean? And then she was like, yeah, she was talking about God and stuff. And then she said like,
well, if it wasn't for God, I would be a pedophile.
and I'm like, that's not, we all, me just looking at each other like, that's not something, you say, oh, if it wasn't for God, I would be such a liar, gossip, or a hot mess, this, that, and the other. Well, who says pedophile specifically? Like, there's something off and wrong. And she had papers to volunteer at my church ministry for children. So I'm just like, oh, Lord. And she told Jessica that she was, in the summer, she told her she was 30. And then when her birthday passed, she was like 32 or 33. But again, at the beginning, I told you, she guys told me she was 24. So I had no idea this grown woman was sleeping. Like, we shared a room, guys. Like, I was on one side and she was on the other. That's how our beds were. Our dresser was in the middle. I had the top half. She had the bottom. I had my desk in there that I used, and she had hers. So, and that was the sense of security that was lost, and which makes it so crazy. It's not like I had a home or even a room or even an ounce of space to retreat to. But we found out she was 32. We started talking and comparing notes, like all these little things, and things were not adding up. So then we decided, we noticed that she was getting, one of my Cupcake noticed that she was getting a check every month for either disability or some type of SSI check or whatever. I don't even know what all that stuff is. And I was like, well, she does take a lot of medicine, but I know she has some type of disease or whatever. Like she has a medicine thing up in my room. And then they were like, okay, we need to go see what type of medicine she's taking. And I was like, no, I don't know. I was so shook. I was like, no, we can't do it. I'm thinking in my head, she's just going to pop out of nowhere. She got cameras somewhere. Like, she's just waiting for us. And she was just going to just pop out. And so they go up there. After like 5 minutes, they yelled out like, okay, we cannot find the medicine. Come help us. I knew exactly where it was. She kept literally her medicine in the dresser, the top dresser drawer. So I go upstairs slowly, and then I open the doors like, here's the medicine. So then we just start Googling. I'm like erasing my fingerprints off the medicine. Like, oh my gosh, you gonna find out. As we're going through, we see some for her disease. And then we find this bottle. Oh my God, this treats for schizophrenic bipolar disorder. And we started flipping out. Then Jessica found another one that treats bipolar. And I think there was like 2 meds for schizophrenia, and one was schizophrenia bipolar, and there was another one for her bipolar disorder. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. What have we gotten ourselves into? What have we signed our lives off for a year? We signed at least to live with this grown woman for a year, and she's been lying. And I was shook. I was shooketh. Like, I was completely like, no, flabbergasted. Like, I didn't stay the night at the house that night. I was that shook. And I spent the night, I want to say it was over my aunt's house, because my grandmother was really sick. And I had to bring out old Scammy Cammy. Ooh, we're going to talk about Scammy Cammy in another video. But 7th, 8th grade Scammy Cammy, she dug some dirt. And I had to dig up dirt on this woman because I didn't know who she was. And she was out here trying to be Joanne the Scammer, thinking she was Caucasian living, and she's crazy. I started Googling and researching that she had a conviction. And when I say my heart sunk, I had called Jessica so fast, like, oh my God, she has a conviction. We're living with a fella, and she probably used to cut people up and murder them and put them in pieces. Like, I was just flipping out, jumping to conclusions. Like, it was really for a ticket, which I don't know what happened to her car, or whose car it was, but she got a ticket. And then I found out this woman is married. She is not only not 24, 26, whatever she said she was. She's a married woman, and not married to just anyone. He is a pimp. This woman is married to a PIMP, pimp. And I was just like, are you kidding me? I started going through his Facebook. We were sent the profile to Jessica. I was like, oh my God, she's married to this man. She is a schizophrenic. And this guy literally had so many pictures of girls, naked girls, young girls. He's old. Not only is she married to a guy, he is 64. So she was 32. He was double her age. Literally exactly double. That's how I remembered it. He was double her age, and he had girls who were probably in their 20s, younger than me, and his pictures half naked, talking about, oh, it's great out here for a pimp, and da-da-da. And this wasn't no little, like, your perv uncle type of pimp. You know, he was a real pimp, had girls that he called hoes, just all throughout his pictures and his Facebook, and he just let it all out there. And he had pictures with her, and she had told my roommate, I guess over the summer, that she didn't want to get a divorce because it cost too much. And I'm like, so you're telling me you married a pimp and you don't want to divorce him because it costs too much? Okay, honey. Okay. So the next day she wrote,
You guys crossed the line last night. There's never a good reason to invade someone's personal space or be treated like a scapegoat. That modem was janky since day one. I will not waste any more energy. If you have any complaints, post it and then group me.
this is after like the 15th time she had canceled, and she was literally just in the room while we were having the meeting, one of our meetings, and she just didn't want to come down, and she's livid. And she was like, Jessica wrote, you gave your word, please act your age and don't try to play the victim when you're the one being disrespectful. And then my phone probably died. I was like, no. This is not a group me type of discussion. We need to talk about other things besides the modem. And I was referring to Dad at the time, and her being a schizophrenic, that she conveniently forgot. There are some issues with bills we need to collectively decide on. You said 2 o'clock, so we've been waiting for days, including the hours that we wasted waiting for you. So you need to come like you said you could, so we can get over this. Using your energy as a scapegoat is unreasonable, and we're all tired. She was like,
That was before you cross the line. Show me any bills and I'll pay my part. Keep it simple and move on.
and Jessica is pissed. And Jessica is like literally the sweetest, gentlest person I have ever met. Like, she is super nice and super smart. Shout out to you, Jessica. You was the bomb. Jessica literally had to spend hours upon hours trying to get the internet get the internet working, because she just wanted to unplug it just to unplug it. And that's literally what she said. She was just like, oh, I just unplugged it. And there was nothing after that. And then I was like, honestly, I'm real fed up with this childish behavior, and it's not putting me in a good place. This girl says she ain't coming. So I say we three meet up and send her what's up and keep it pushing. So then we had another meeting after that, and we said no guys / boys or Dad is spending the night, not ever, not in the room, not outside the room. And there is no, I'm not going to clean for X amount of times in places, especially in the bathroom and in the kitchen. Excuse me, because she would be like, oh, well, I cleaned today, so I'm not cleaning for the next week. And we're just like, it's the bathroom. Like, what do you mean you're not going to clean? Being quiet during obvious sleeping hours. Please be quiet, because this girl, oh my God, I'll probably talk about it more in my next video. But she would literally set an alarm for 6 a.m. and just let it ring and ring, and she would not answer it. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding? I would literally have to yell her name. Satan, get up and turn off your alarm. Or she'll literally start having a conversation at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're sharing a room. Like, you can't, if you're sharing a room with somebody, why are you having this loud conversation, waking not only just me up, but the next room over, because you want to talk at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, what the heck? And then if you're in uninvited personal area, oh my God. So one day I was like working out, and I was working out in our basement, and that's where our laundry is. I was like, all right, let me take off these. I was actually doing Insanity, and Insanity is actually crazy. I lasted like maybe a week because it was that crazy. I was sweating so much. I was like, okay, let me take off these sweaty clothes, put them in the washer, and put my clothes on in the dryer so I could just at least wear them until I get upstairs to take a shower. And I think I just was waiting for my robe or something. And she was, of course, as soon as I took off my clothes, she started walking down the stairs. I was like, hey, do not walk down. I am not dressed. I'm putting my clothes in the wash machine, blah, blah, blah. And then she keeps coming. And then she's like, oh, girl, you ain't got nothing that I ain't got. And I'm just like, I don't care. I literally started, I was like, hey, stop walking down the stairs. I don't care. Wait 2 seconds, and I will put my robe on. And she was like, okay. And then she just stops at the end of the stairs, put on my robe, and I was just like, okay, you can go. And she did the same thing to Jessica. Jessica was in the bathroom, closed door, closed bathroom. Like, she started to open the door, and I think Jessica was in the shower or just got out of the shower, and she was like, oh, hey, I'm in here. She's like, oh, it's okay, girl, you ain't got nothing that I ain't got. Like, I don't care what you got, and you don't need to see what I got. And she proceeded to walk in, and she had to like basically push her out. And I'm just like, you're a little pervy. And then, so that was like that whole, if you're in uninvited personal area, please do not proceed to walk in, because apparently she didn't understand that. Then we had keep your food in your section of the fridge. That was Cupcake's idea. If you have any actions that could potentially affect one or more roommates in the household, i.e. the internet, it should be discussed beforehand. no unplugging the internet without warning other people. Rude, disrespectful behavior, attitude, being tired is not an excuse to handle anything things immaturely. In fact, when we in fact are all tired, not apologizing at all, acknowledging anything is at fault, leaving a mess and expecting others to clean it, especially the bathroom and the kitchen. She literally left blood on the toilet. It was disgusting. No more smart indirect comments. She would just say that little whole beauty blender stuff to not only me, but she would just be real snippy and real like some bitter old Betty, and somebody that stole her man or something, her old pimp. Maybe somebody did. I don't know. No more parading around the house like the Queen of Adams. So she literally dropped her classes and will be in the same robe and just be walking around prancing, and she would just sit on the couch. We would leave. She would sit on the couch like this. And then we come home. She's still. And just have this crazy dazed look on her face. And we're just like, what is going on? No changing clothes with the door wide open. You may feel comfortable with your body, but not with everyone else. She would just be just letting it all loose with the door open. Like, don't nobody want to see that. Or during the meetings, Cupcake had noticed that she started getting mail from a mental health facility. That's when we decided to go into the room and look up the prescription that she was getting. So we noticed she'd been getting mail from a mental health facility in your name. If you're having issues with stability, please inform us so we can act accordingly. We need a written consent of the bills. Not every meeting will be like this. This is very immature. Could have been avoided. This is very unnecessary. Now everything is on your specific time and schedule. We will not have regular meetings, or we will have regular meetings, and we're not obligated to inform you on executive decisions since you're not present. If there's a serious issue or problem, please be direct. We would like individually an apology from you, not via text nor anything indirect. Face-to-face conversation explaining how much you personally affected us, because you honestly have no clue. I.e. the internet, sleep time, minutes wasted on the phone. Then we put it in like a little screenshot, saying, this is it, just in case you missed it. So then, literally the next day, she wrote,
Just a heads up, I'm going to be starting interviewing for replacements and putting them on ads.
So I literally want to say I got back at the end of August, and September 14th, she ready to bounce, and we ready to have her leave because she raised so much hell in the house. Like, this is just part one. Part two, I'm going to be talking about how she was practicing witchcraft, how I believe she tried to put a spell on me, how I'm going to have embarrassing photos of myself, of which I believe that she is the cause of it. And how the time I caught her standing over me while I was asleep. But we confronted her about her disorders that we found that she was in, and she denied it. And Jessica was really great at asking her directly, like, do you have any mental issues or whatever? And she was just like, nope. Have you ever been diagnosed? Have you ever seen a therapist, or have you ever seen a psychiatrist? Really, have you ever been taking meds? Did you stop taking meds? Nope. And her whole reasoning was behind this was, God's healed me. That's what she was saying. God's healed me. God's healed me. God's healed me. I'm like, why are you flinching? Like, what is wrong with you? And there is truly something wrong about her. But yeah, this is pretty much part one. It started out, a little slow, but it takes time to get the little tea water to boil. But definitely stay tuned for part two. It's probably gonna be entitled "She Was Standing Over Me While She Was Asleep." But yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh my god, I feel like that is really super light after this heavy topic. But go ahead and at my handle, turn your notifications on. You definitely want to hear part 2 and 3. And again, if you lasted this long, shout out to you for listening, because I talk too much. And I'm going to stop talking now. Alright, bye. Got a blast.